Welcome back to the John Frederick Show, Common Sense for the Commonwealth, broadcasting from the nation's capital, where it is forecasted to be 70 degrees today. 70 degrees, get that. Time for shorts and short sleeves.
No. Shorts in January?
Unbelievable.
What?
70 degrees, a weather swing, weather-mageddon.
You know, as soon as you get the shorts out, it'll go right back to 30 degrees.
Well, that's what it's expected to be on Friday. There's a crazy weather. It's up and down. You never know what to do.
Goes back and forth more than the state senate.
Today, that's right. Goes back and forth more than the Virginia State Senate, no question about it.
Just call me king of the segues.
Yes, that is a great segues. Speaking of segues, this is the John Frederick Show. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. Just go to the John Frederick Show Facebook. You can like us right there. Get all the info, know who's coming on, get the scoop. We welcome our guests today as we broadcast throughout the state of Virginia. This is the only show that has a statewide network in Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Maryland, and throughout every corner of Virginia, except Danville, but we're getting there. And we want to welcome State Senator Mark Herring. He's a Democrat from District 33, Loudoun County, where I'm going to be moving. So I'm so excited. I get everybody on from Loudoun County, so I get the scoop of where I'm going to live as I come up here from Virginia Beach. And he's also a candidate on the Democratic side for Attorney General. Hey, that's going to be decided in a real live primary in June, not this contrived, ridiculous Republican caucus convention that you can't figure out how to become a delegate in Richmond, but a real life primary in June. Senator, great to have you with us.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm a big fan of your show, and I guess I should say welcome to Loudoun County. I understand you're going to be moving to the South Riding neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm fired up. And now, are you going to be my state senator there?
Well, you know, the lines change so fast around here these days, you never know. But I used to represent the area prior to the 2011 redistricting. It's not currently in the district. But the South Riding area, you'll find, it's a wonderful community. Loudoun County is a great place to live. And I'll just say I worked really hard to secure funding for widening Route 50 along South Riding and the Chantilly area. I know it's an inconvenience as the construction's being done, but it'll be worth it in the long run. You know,
we had the chairman of your county board of supervisors on about 2 weeks ago, sir, and he was very keen on the fact that is going to help businesses along that corridor, as well as the funding that was secured to help the Silver Line out to Dulles. So we appreciate your efforts down there.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm fired up. We'll have to see, as you say, whether there is redistricting. That was a good segue, by the way. We'll have to see if this redistricting thing goes through. We asked Senator Saslow about it the other day, and you probably know he's not what you would call a happy camper.
Well, first of all, it really crossed a lot of boundaries in terms of fairness and decency. No legislative body should do what happened last week, and let alone the Virginia Senate. And our Constitution is clear. Redistricting shall be done, not may, shall be done in 2011 and every 10 years thereafter. But it has also really strained some working relationships. You know, I came down hoping to get some things done on transportation, health care, a whole lot of issues that are important to Virginians. We're starting to talk about these issues, and then it turns out that, you know, some of the other folks in the chamber, instead of really focused on those issues, were plotting this change. And so, you know, we'll see. But I don't think that it's going to be something that's going to be upheld.
Okay, we're not sure if it is. It looks like it's going to most likely pass the House of Delegates, but we don't know whether or not Governor McDonnell is going to sign this thing. It is a little Weasley, and I want to get off this topic because we've talked about it, Senator, for a week and a half. But one thing that I'm trying to get a straight answer on is we find the timing of it somewhat odd, because obviously the vote was called to the floor when we think Republicans knew that Senator Henry Marsh was at the inaugural festivities and he couldn't get back Republicans are saying, well, not really. He could have gotten back. Do you think it was planned when they absolutely were certain that Henry Marsh could not get back in time?
It seemed to me very well timed for when he was absent, and I think a telling point is that the Republicans in the Senate limited debate first to 15 minutes and then to 30 minutes. So as this was unfolding, had they not moved to cut off debate, there would have been an opportunity for him to make it back. And again, it's a boundary. There's certain lines of decency and honesty that we need to have in the legislature that the Virginia Senate has had. And I think it's just it's a new low in politics, and it should not be allowed to stand.
I've had this image in my mind all week of the senator and his driver racing to their car, getting texts, trying to get down 95, or saying, well, maybe I should take Amtrak, trying to get back in time, scrambling to get down there. So I'm not sure how that played out. We're going to get Senator Marsh on, hopefully, in the next week or so.
Good.
And ask him point blank if they tried to get a hold of him. Kind of a weird thing. Now let's get to transportation. As you mentioned, the Governor McDonnell, has put forth a transportation plan. We think it's a bold plan for change. And Senator, you brought it up earlier. One of the frustrations that we've had on our show editorially is like, look, Virginia has had a transportation crisis that has gone on and has not been solved in 3 decades. There's always a reason it can't be solved. There's always somebody arguing. But in the meantime, it's not solved. And our transportation infrastructure, especially in Northern Virginia and the Hampton Roads area, is continuing to deteriorate. If we don't fix this, it's going to start costing us jobs. We already spend billions of dollars on gasoline sitting in traffic. What do you think of the governor's bill?
Well, you're right about the crisis in transportation. It is especially acute in the area that I represent up in Northern Virginia, and which you'll find as you drive in on Route 50. It's serious for Hampton Roads and other places around the Commonwealth. Even more of the rural areas are seeing their maintenance funding dry up. So people are sitting in traffic way too long. We need to address the problem so they can get to their work and their jobs and back home instead of sitting in traffic. As an individual legislator, I've tried to not draw hard lines in the sand and say, okay, we have to do it this way or that way, because once legislators start doing that, individual legislators start doing that, it makes it much harder to compromise, to be flexible. And so I have tried to avoid drawing that hard line in the sand and say, well, we need to do it by raising a registration fee or a gas tax or a sales tax. And it's going to take leadership from the governor, from the speaker, the majority leader, working together with really members of both parties in both chambers. And the governor's put out some ideas. One of them is to increase the sales tax and eliminate the gas tax. That's a lot to chew on, and I'm still analyzing, and we're looking for more information about what the effect of that is going to be on the economy, what the effect is going to be on gas prices. We have to be careful if we eliminate the gas tax. Are we sure that the prices are going to come down by that amount? One of the other concerns that has been expressed that we need to look at is a large part of the money that he said would be raised is going to require action in Congress. I think something like $1.2 billion or $1.1 billion of the $3 billion that is supposed to be raised depends on congressional action and taxing internet sales. Well, that's been pending in Congress for a number of years. So there's a lot to think about, and there are other proposals on the table, and we're still getting more information and analyzing those, and I'm going to stay flexible and see, and hopefully we will be able to get a reasonable plan on the Senate floor to vote on.
Common Sense News Time coming up on 7:49. This is the John Frederick Show. We're with Democratic State Senator Mark Herring. He's from District 33. That's Loudoun County. He's also a candidate for Attorney General for the Democratic nomination. That'll be decided in an actual primary where you can go in and vote in June. And I just want to make everybody aware that I am signed up for a delegate for the Republican convention in Richmond. No, I shouldn't say I signed up. I'm going to go into this in a few minutes, Senator, after we're off. I'm attempting to sign up. I hope to. But I'm also going to vote in the Democratic primary in June. I can't wait to be able to vote in 2 primaries. I'm so excited. I'm beside myself with glee. Now,
he thinks it's Chicago politics. He gets to vote more than once.
I get to vote in Republican caucus if I can find out how to actually become a delegate, and then I get to vote in the Democratic primary in June. So I'm fired up. Now, here's our question. We're excited that you seem to be flexible on transportation, so we can maybe get something solved. Minority Leader Dick Sazlo was on our show earlier in the week. He said, hey, no on transportation. I'm going to just stonewall this thing. Do you think that was the right approach for the Minority Leader to take?
Well, I'm not going to speak for Senator Sazlo. He's certainly very capable of doing that himself. But he's put some proposals out himself, and I think they're going to be, as I said, there were a lot of proposals out there. One proposal would be to increase the gas tax and lower the income tax at some of the lower tax brackets, so that increase would be mitigated at the lower income levels. Again, there are a lot of proposals on the table. There are a lot of discussions still ongoing, and we just need to be flexible and try and find common ground and make some reasonable compromises.
Senator, what inspired your candidacy for Attorney General of Virginia?
John, I am running for Attorney General because the right person in that office can do a lot of good for a lot of people. I grew up, I've lived almost my entire life in Virginia. Grew up in Loudoun County. Went to public schools there, college at UVA, got my law degree from University of Richmond. And I went back home to Leesburg because I wanted to establish my law practice and raise my family in the same hometown where I grew up. I've been a county supervisor. I'm going on 8 years now in the state Senate. And since being there, I have really concentrated my efforts on things that will really help Virginians and their families. I've seen our current Attorney General do some things that I think are really out of bounds for an Attorney General, and we may not have time to go into those, but the things that I want to do are to really help protect Virginians, keep them safe, protect people's rights, work on economic development. We've got, there are things that we ought to be doing, not just cracking down on domestic violence, but put some policies in place that will help victims before things get worse, before they suffer even more serious injuries or even death. Fairfax County alone has reported that instances of domestic violence have increased over 200% over the last 5 years. The Virginia Medical Examiner has reported that 43.5% of all Virginia homicides are family and intimate partner homicides. So we need to take a look at that, and that's something that the Attorney General can do. I've been working to keep dangerous designer drugs off the shelves of convenience stores and out of the hands of our children and young adults. And nothing can, until you hear a parent share with you the devastation that they've witnessed their child suffer because of bath salts and designer drugs like this, it's just heart-wrenching. And so we've come a long way, but this is an issue that we have to stay on top of. We have to be vigilant because there are enterprising criminal minds out there that will work to change a chemical compound to evade our drug laws, and it's devastating for kids. So these are some of the things that we can do: protect people's privacy when they're out on the internet, protecting seniors and other vulnerable persons from financial fraud and other scams. These are the things that I think I can do as Attorney General, and that's why I'm running.
Common Sense News Time is 7:54. Editorial Director Steve Ray, along with John Fredericks this morning, and we're speaking to State Senator Mark Herring, who is one of 3 Democratic candidates for Attorney General. And Senator, One of the benchmarks of your political career is in business development, all the way back to the time that you were on the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors. As Attorney General, and specifically as a Democrat, can you continue to advocate for the low tax and reduction of red tape environment that has made the Commonwealth so business-friendly?
Absolutely. And one of the things I've done as a part of my law practice is help people who are starting small businesses. And I think there's a lot the Attorney General can do to help facilitate some startup of new businesses, especially in the technology field. We've got some great colleges and universities and researchers there. They are constantly making discoveries that have commercial application. And I think the Attorney General can play a facilitator role to try and bring entrepreneurs together with those researchers and establish new businesses here in Virginia rather than have them go out of state. And something else that is important to have an Attorney General who helps foster a more forward-looking image. If you look at one of the very high-profile actions our Attorney General did was to sue a UVA researcher. Mm-hmm. He did it because he disagreed with the researcher's ideas and conclusions, and that is, that's downright un-American. It was very costly to taxpayers, and it was costly to our state's reputation because it sent a signal to people around the country that Virginia was anti-science or not welcoming to researchers in technology. If we want to attract top researchers to Virginia, if we want to attract technology companies to Virginia, we can't have an Attorney General who's suing researchers at our universities because he disagrees with the ideas and the conclusions.
All right. I have about a minute before I hand you back to John and before we end the segment. How does your ideological viewpoint, which is just as strong, and your advocacy differ with the current Attorney General, Ken Cuccinelli?
Well, we've seen a number of actions where our current Attorney General's actions have really been outside the mainstream. I've talked a little bit about his action against the researcher who studied climate change. He's also really, I think, misused the powers of the office to intimidate the Board of Health in adopting regulations that were onerous and restrictive on women's health centers that have made it or will make it more expensive for women to get health care, will make it less accessible for women. And I think the things that I have worked for in the Senate show that I'm much more in the mainstream.
Okay, Senator Herring, very quickly, as we're very short on time. So quick answer on this Super Bowl. San Francisco -3.5 over Baltimore Ravens. You got two choices. You got to pick one. Who do you like?
Well, unfortunately, once the Redskins were eliminated from contention, it was a lot more difficult to follow. But I'm kind of leaning toward the Ravens.
Okay, Mark Herring, candidate for Attorney General. He likes Baltimore +3.5. The line opened at 5. It's all the way down to 3.5. Hey, if you want more information on Mark Herring, the senator, Democratic senator, District 33, Loudoun County, a candidate for the Democratic nomination for Attorney General, go to herringforag.com. Herring4AG, that's FOR.com. This is the John Frederick Show. Thank you for being with us, Senator Herring.
Thank you very much.